Hello, we're back after a 24-hour break from publishing videos. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're excited to go through what has been going on in Euro 2020 as 2 of the round of 16 ties are set. Let's go. Sunday's matches put the spotlight on Group A, where Italy knew they were already through as they took on Wales, which gave Mancini the chance to rotate 8 of his starters and give a tournament debut to Marco Verratti. And the class player that Verratti is, he shined very brightly. And in fact, there were moments in that first half where Wales looked quite good as well. They had adjusted their structure to play 3 at the back to give the Italian wingers a little less joy going forward. And there were spells, as mentioned a moment ago, where Wales looked really good on the ball. They were limited a couple of times in the first half and at the beginning of the second, but they were there. But in between, it was Italy who took the lead thanks to Matteo Pessina, the guy who came into the camp late after Sensi was injured. Great little touch to guide it past Danny Ward. Ward, who was a busy boy once again and stood fairly strong. It really was some bad luck for Wales to have Ampadu sent off for almost nothing. I mean, I can see that as a card, I guess, but only a yellow. There's no way that should have been a red, but I mean, that's okay. It certainly made things a bit touch and go for them, as they will have been hearing what was going on in the other match. That other match being Switzerland versus the most disappointing team in the tournament, Turkey. Again, they came in with great results against France and Netherlands, a solid qualification campaign, decent form immediately preceding the tournament, and they just looked terrible throughout, didn't they? My goodness. I mean, I feel for the Turkish supporters because that was an absolute letdown from that team. Switzerland, I mean, I was speaking to Uncle Shamra about Seferovic, and I said to him, watch, he'll score a banger and, shush the crowd. And what happened after 6 minutes? Some extremely standoffish defending from Turkey, giving Seferovic enough time to turn around at the edge of the 18 and take his time in striking past the keeper. It was a good strike, don't get me wrong, but it was bad defending. And sure enough, we saw the finger go to the lips from Seferovic. What a guy. Puts in 2 absolute stinkers, scores 1 goal, and then shushes the crowd. But yes, while Turkey had a few players that looked decent on the dribble now and then, this match was never really that difficult for Switzerland. When they would get on the ball, the Turkish back line was consistently disjointed, leaving massive gaps to attack through, and Shaqiri, Embolo, and Seferovic, they had a blast for the most part. Shaqiri scored a banger on his weak foot from outside of the box because once again, too much room was given to the Swiss. The Turkish defense standing off way too much. At least Turkey didn't leave this tournament with 3 losses and 0 goals scored. They did manage to at least score a single goal via Kaveci, but 6 minutes later, and Shaqiri had scored his second of the match to make it 3-1. A tournament to forget for Turkey. The final standings in Group A show Italy in first, no surprise, then Wales holding on to second, as any change would have required either another goal from Italy and a goal from Switzerland, basically a 2-goal swing that would favor Switzerland. And of course, Turkey will be going on vacation. The Netherlands knew they were through just as the Italians were, though they didn't bother rotating the squad, at least not to the same degree. Different approaches from different managers, and you can see the value in both of them. For the Netherlands, you can see some merit in, keeping the starting 11 together to gain some further chemistry, stay match sharp, etc. For Italy, taking the opportunity to rest some players after what was an extremely long season. I mean, you can pick your poison there. The Netherlands look strong once again, though. Defensively, they absolutely leave some to be desired. Ukraine, the only team to have managed to punish them for it, but a 3-0 display from the Netherlands will have left the Amsterdam crowd very happy. By the way, Gini Wijnaldum finding that scoring touch for his nation once again, something he had at Newcastle, and something that his role at Liverpool didn't really allow. But my goodness, has he ever looked good for the Netherlands. Very fun to watch, scoring a brace to take his tally up to 3 so far, 17 in his last 28 appearances for his country. The other scorer for the Netherlands was Depay, who was set up by one of the few changes to the Netherlands 11, Daniel Malen starting. 2 assists from Malen in his 3 appearances in this tournament, which is not bad at all, and gives De Boer a very good problem to have. Malen or Weghorst up front with Depay. 3-0 the final in that one, as the Netherlands don't let up and don't allow a fairy tale finish to North Macedonia's tournament. Not that they owe them that at all, of course. And Goran Pandev, I mean, this was absolutely his final match for North Macedonia, as he is for sure retiring from international football, so it was great to see the reception he got prior to the match, the guard of honor as he left the pitch in the second half, and the appreciation from the crowd. I mean, What a career. He hasn't confirmed whether he would play another season of club football. He certainly seems capable of doing so, but he also said he doesn't intend to play club football. He's just left the door open just a little bit. Now, the other match in this group was the one that most would have had their eyes on from a competitive point of view. Austria versus Ukraine. A draw would have possibly sent both sides through, while anything else meant the third place team would be waiting until Wednesday to see if they are continuing on in this tournament. And it was Austria who once again looked decent in most areas of the pitch besides the attack, where they squandered plenty of chances, yet they still managed to score. Something that Ukraine failed to do in this one. And the thing about the Austrian goal is that it was scored by Baumgartner from a corner kick. Now, moments prior to this, he went down from a clash of heads and was ruled okay to stay on the pitch. He scores, and then minutes later, he was just not right and had to come off. Fine margins, you know? Had he been subbed earlier, maybe they wouldn't have won that game. Try as they might in the second half, Ukraine just couldn't steal a goal. Yaremchuk coming close, Yarmolenko unable to impose himself, Malinovsky came off at the half. Actually, wasn't a great showing from him, but still, it was a disappointing one for Shevchenko, who took part in the most depressing Viking clap of all time at the end of this match. Absolutely deadpan, zero emotion on his face, and I don't blame him. Their fate is out of their hands now, and just a single point could have been crucial for them. Credit to Franco Foda, who shifted Marcel Sabitzer's starting position, moving him forward a bit and into that left inside channel, where he looked great, driving forward with the ball and really got the most out of him. And so, what did we learn from Group C wrapping up? Well, Netherlands, who finished first, will still have to wait for the group stage to wrap up in order to know who their opponent will be in the round of 16. Austria, who finished in second, will be playing against Italy in the round of 16 on Saturday at Wembley. Again, we had a team that knew their fate already as Belgium took on second place Finland. Plenty of changes made, including the inclusions of Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, and Axel Witsel, no doubt looking to get them into, match shape prior to the round of 16 matches. On top of that, however, I was happy to see Jeremy Doku as he looked threatening down the right flank in the first half, though his final ball was lacking a little bit. That said, he had finished defenders on roller skates throughout, just as he did in Ligue 1 for Rennes. There was a moment of brilliance from who else but Kevin De Bruyne as he split two defenders and beat a couple more around the 18. The play ending with the ball deflecting off a defender and then off of Hradecki's face. The Finns' pulses will have been raised as news spilled in from Copenhagen at the half. Denmark were playing against Russia knowing that a win over the Russians would put them in third place, and every goal would count for them in the top third place team rankings. The Russians knew that a win would see them through, likely in second, unless the Finns pulled off something crazy against a rotated Belgian side. And so the Danes came out aggressive once again, but the Russians no doubt will have taken note of how quickly Denmark start their matches, and they matched their intensity for the most part in the early exchanges. Golovin had a great run forward for Russia, leaving the Danish defenders on their heels and forcing a save out of Kasper Schmeichel. But it was the man who really caught my eye against Belgium, Mikkel Damsgaard of Sampdoria, that ended up giving Denmark the lead in this one. A beautiful goal as he set himself with his left and hit a curling strike into the top corner from the edge of the 18. It was beautiful. Then 15 minutes after the half, a blind back pass from a Russian defender whose name escapes me at the moment, I'm so sorry, was put on a plate for Yusuf Poulsen to just tap past the stranded Russian keeper. Horrendous mistake from the Russian defender, but it did a lot for Denmark and their hopes of advancing. 2-0 up at that point. And then it got crazy. I had both matches on, and it got a little bit wild. So, for perhaps a single minute, with Denmark leading by 2 and Lukaku scoring for Belgium, Denmark sat in second place ahead of Finland. But then the double whammy. Lukaku's goal was called back for offside, and the Russians were awarded a penalty. A soft one for me, but it was given. Zuba scored, and Denmark was back into third place. Until help came by way of 35-year-old Belgian and 31-year-old Finn. Vermaalen's header went off of the bar and off of Hradecki and in. 1-0 Belgium. That one stood, and Denmark jumped back up to second place. Steven's trying to break in right now. No. And from there, the opposite of the earlier double whammy happened. First, there was Andreas Christensen scoring an absolute thunderbolt from outside of the box. I mean, what a way to score, to put your country in the driver's seat. Incredible. Minutes later, they scored another as Mele, a player who has really impressed me, went in all alone and finished past the keeper. Hell yeah, Atalanta propaganda. While that happened, Lukaku made it 2-0, thus solidifying Denmark's place in second, and those scores held a magical night in Denmark, getting through on their own merit with an incredible performance against Russia and a little bit of help from Belgium along the way. It's incredible, man. In that very stadium, Parken Stadium in Copenhagen, just 9 days earlier, they were all horrified, having to face something they wouldn't have ever imagined following Eriksen's collapse. And now, this. Mentality monsters, absolute team unity. I mean, they won't be easy to beat. So this group finished with Belgium on top, Denmark in second, Finland in third, and Russia in fourth. This means that Denmark will be facing Wales in Amsterdam on Saturday, while Belgium will be waiting around to see who they play. It will be one of the third place sides. And Finland are going to have to wait and see if their 3 points and -2 goal difference will be enough for them. And that's all, guys. A huge congratulations to the teams that have advanced so far, halfway through all of the groups at this point, so we'll have the round of 16 picture in the near future. Thanks once again for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, then a like goes a long way. If not, there's always the dislike button. My name's Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.